I'm going to have to fucking defend myself
No
tonight.
profanity yet. Hold on.
The way these guys are. It's okay. We're not going yet.
Yeah, we are. It's Wednesday night, and we are at Brian's Osage Outdoors. This is Real Unfiltered Talk. Good evening, everybody. I'm James Bryan, along with my right-hand man to my left is world champion fisherman Dion Hibden. And tonight, we have got a internet influencer by the name of Andy Caps. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Also known as, a.k.a. the Angry Pirate. So, welcome to the show, Andy. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good.
Are you?
Doing really good.
Everybody always just says kind of that same old thing, but let's see. Let's start in and tell a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you if nobody knows who you are? Because, you know, we're going to be like super national, you know, in time.
Right.
And people are going to go back and look at like the 7th episode and go, who the hell is Andy Caps and what the hell is the Angry Pirate? So let's shed a little light on everybody and let's tell them a little bit about yourself.
I was just I still am. I'm just an average, everyday guy. And took all my clothes off and took a picture with a 6-pounder one time. And bang, I'm Facebook famous.
We posted that picture.
Been to the gulag a couple of times over that picture.
We did. That's how you got your big net in
in
the internet world is instead of your Johnson, you've got a bass hanging.
Actually, it kind of pisses me off because they've always discriminated against my picture because I'm fat and ugly, but you see a lot of half-naked women, which you can see a hell of a lot more than you can see in that picture of mine, which I've always argued with the fine folks at Facebook about. You can see absolutely nothing in that picture but my face and that fish. And why it's not with community standards is somebody else's job, not mine.
I'm just going to say I'm starting to see a pattern forming here because Randy Blockett posed nude too at one point in time.
I can't wait till
I'm not sure what he was holding, but he posed nude.
That was from Playgirl.
That was some sort of magazine, yeah.
So I guess if you need to boost your hits, D, I suggest you shed them.
I have to
Get a little snapshot of old D and his OG.
We seen him pretty naked before the show started.
I showed my ass timer around the country.
We've already had some of those stories. I'd like to not go there tonight so much. We're going to kind of not do that big thing. So Andy Caps, local resident here in Missouri, Lake of the Ozarks. He is a very well-respected Marine, served in Iraq. Thank you for your service.
Did not serve in Iraq.
You weren't? Where are you at?
I was in
Kuwait?
Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Is that Kuwait? Kuwait. But I did see the pictures of the oil fields and you digging foxholes, and that's not a good stint. So
yeah, tank battles are bad places to be when you're not a tank.
So after that, served at State of Missouri Correctional Facility as a prison guard for how long?
I worked MSP for 25 years.
I'm going to have to get you motivated to talk a little louder. You didn't get in it, like I said. Now you got to move it down because you can be in Dion's way. And then
I'm good.
He'll be all bad. Go ahead. Served at the correctional facility, retired.
I retired in 2020 for the scamdemic.
The scamdemic.
The scamdemic, and that's when the Angry Pirate kind of launched. 2018, I went to the Classic and I worked a booth with the Cal Coast fishing guys, which are now Tackle Works, and we had a blast. But I got pegged the Angry Pirate from that Classic, and then Dave Romanis told Al McCullough that I'm the Angry Pirate, and Al McCullough ran with it. And two things about a nickname: you can either embrace it or you can fight it. Either way, it's not going anywhere. So I just chose to embrace it. It's really weird in a fishing community setting to me, because all I've ever done was Facebook stuff and some small time tournaments. But when I go in the fishing community, I'm recognized, and people come up to me and talk to me, and I have no idea who they are, and that really is weird to me.
Well, that's what being an internet influencer is.
Right.
You know, you don't know those fans out there, but you got them. Lord knows I don't know why, but you got them.
I'm telling you, it blows my mind, too.
It's kind of cool. And here's the thing, Dion, you know, he kind of, I'm trying to say this as nice as I can. He really sucked the last decade as an angler, but this year he's kind of on it. He's catching some
He
fish too.
is. He's
It's
been
kinda
catching
crazy.
them every time he goes.
I
Seems
don't
like.
know. I think is it because of the drastic weight loss program, or what's the deal?
I don't know,
You be able to
because
fish a little
I'm
more
telling
shallow
you,
water.
I'm trying to figure it out too, because I want to bitch and complain because I haven't had a good year, but I just keep standing in the check line. So I mean, maybe what I think's a good year, what I've been trying to do all my life,
If
is
they have,
wrong.
If they
Is
have to
wrong.
pay you to leave, that's a good day.
Yeah,
Well,
I
so
mean,
pay you to leave. Is that
They
is
have
that
to
what the
pay you to leave. That's right.
Is that-
That's a good deal.
is that the term for getting a paycheck? And
That's it.
paying you to leave. I haven't remember that one.
You've never heard that in bass fishing?
No, because I never got a good check.
Oh, well,
So no.
well, it's not all peaches and cream, as I found out.
Right. They always say you can win $100,000 a year, but it'll take you 380 to get there.
It's
So look.
not only that, but
Right,
on the
Neil?
other
that's
end
probably
of it,
not even close.
Yep.
when Uncle Joe sees that you've made a little bit of money, you're going to pay the man,
Needs it back.
and the man always gets paid.
Just a little disclaimer tonight. There's going to be some politics probably involved here, so those that lean one way or the other might want to pay attention because you might not want to tune in later. So just letting you know ahead of time.
I'm just calling a spade a spade.
It's unfiltered. I'm just letting
There's
everybody
only-
know.
Hey, why
if
would it
you're,
be called unfiltered if we
if
were going to
that's-
filter how great our economy is?
I'm just
All
There's
the
only-
taxes that we're not
Which-
paying now, 4
which,
years
by
later.
the way, why we're gonna be on the economy. I
There's
got to
only
talk.
3 of us up here, and we're the only opinion that counts.
That's right. So I'm gonna break protocol here. Hey Dion, we got a sponsor tonight.
What?
We got I don't know. I have to count how many actual lures we got, but we've got like a short-term sponsor deal.
Well, yeah.
So that'll also kind of incorporate into the shameless plug later.
Sweet.
But got to give a shout out tonight to Baitworks, and they are sponsoring the show tonight. And Mr. Stick is in the crowd tonight, and thank him for coming down. He gave us a bunch of product to give away, so that's kind of cool. So I thought we'd give him. For the first time ever, I can say, welcome to Real Unfiltered Live, brought to you by Baitworks out of Springfield, Missouri. If you need anything, go to baitworks.com and get your baits right here at baitworks.com. Right?
That is awesome.
Something
That
like
was
that.
good.
Yeah.
That was good. Very
Thank
good.
you. That's my
Impressive.
radio
Nice-
voice.
nice
It's
job.
like it's 78 degrees today, and it's going to be a high of 82. Calling for 30% chance of rain tomorrow, with a high of 66.
That's
Scattered
little-
showers and thunderstorms coming through.
A little too feminine.
Okay, sorry.
Back it,
try
back
that,
it
though.
back up there. a little
Got
bit.
it.
You can dress him up, but you can't hide the
No.
nerd in him.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
tried
right.
it. So
That
anyway,
nerd is showing big.
so Stick brought us a whole box of baits, and I don't know if there's 10 or 50 in there, but we're trying to figure out what to do. So if you're watching us on Facebook Live and you want some free jigs, give us some ideas. Other than that, you're going to need to go to youtube.com, go to Real Unfiltered Live, and subscribe. And if you're a previous subscriber, we'll throw you in the hat, and we'll do a draw, and we'll give away some stuff next week. We'll do that. We'll give them a
Sounds
week.
good.
We'll give them a week to put it together. We'll put together a Hibden Hammer package. That's going to be in the shameless plug later in the show. As you're aware, you can't promote anything until we tell you you can. Got it?
I'm promoting stuff
That's-
being here right now.
That's the
brother.
rule. So no promotions. We
My
don't want
peoples
anybody.
are watching me right now.
You owe me today anyway.
I do. You did hook me up,
I did.
which you always do, and I stated that on my Facebook post.
Now listen, there might be those that are listening, so we're gonna tell the truth as if it was the truth. Here at Real Unfiltered Talk, just so you know, we tell stories. It's up to the crowd to understand if it's true or not.
I
So
didn't
here's
know that. That changes the whole game.
that's right. So you can lie all you want, and we're just gonna assume it's true. But Andy had him a little boating accident this week, and we won't get into detail of how it happened. But Dion, he tore his power pole. You know the two top halves of the power pole. You know the joint that holds them together.
Yeah.
He tore the anchor and the joint out of the back of his pole.
Ooh.
Now, our good folks at Power Pole did warranty his stuff, so that's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And I've always said, and I shouldn't have, but I'm going to own up to it. If you got a set of power poles on your boat, 2 things you have to have on board: a hammer and a roll of duct tape for when they break down, because they're going to break down.
All right, well,
And they always come through. I mean, they came through for me today.
they stopped you,
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah.
I hope they got that stuff shipped already.
Yeah, that's why I said it, but it was legit, and they do take good care of everybody. So
Yeah,
anyway,
they do.
yeah. So I got him hooked up. He was getting his credit card out. We got you covered, man. The good folks down there did that, so that's all good. Andy's running a metal boat, kind of a new thing for you.
Right.
So when Andy retired, the first thing he did, and I thought it was kind of weird, but he bought one of those Iconelli knockoff boats. He had the teeth and everything on it.
Yeah.
It was kind of dumb.
What I did was bought the most boat I could afford.
The most boat you could
The
afford.
most boat I could afford with the biggest motor and the biggest boat. to run out in the tuna boat fleet out here on the Lake of the Ocean.
Right.
And to do that all over again, then here's some good advice for somebody that's running an old antique boat, which is nothing wrong with that. Run it till you can't, till it starts costing you payment type money, and then trash it and buy a new one.
What's payment type money?
Well,
Because in
I'm
today's
making a
world,
big payment on my boat,
all right.
but because I want to.
Did
when-
you do the 20-year finance like everybody else is doing?
No,
right.
no.
Okay, just checking. Which
His boat's not just exactly a metal boat, though. I
no,
mean,
it's cool.
They are
it's
a
really
very
cool.
sweet little old boat.
You can talk about the boat. We're not promoting the boat. You own an Avid.
And I know an
Yeah.
Avid, which
Yeah.
is Vexus's evil twin sister.
That's right.
If you park them right next to each other, you can't tell the difference.
Is that, and Dion, I don't know if you know the story or not. Is it true that some people got disgruntled and left and started Avid? You ever heard that story?
That's the way pretty much most of the bass boat companies in the world have happened.
They all do that.
Yeah,
They
at
just
some
leave and
point
start
in time,
another
yeah,
company.
I mean, that's
So it's
that's
like-
not just that one. I mean, come on.
All right,
I mean, yeah, that's happened 20 times in my lifetime.
which
Uh,
brings us to industry news. I have news.
really?
So I was doing my little scroll the internet thing and was checking stuff out, and I saw in Springfield. Let's see here. Okay, and in Springfield, they did a press release from Bass Pro Shops. They cut like almost 200 jobs in the marine division, like in 3 of them, including. That's me. I gotta turn that down. It's backfeeding. You can't hear it. Anyway, so they cut, from my understanding, 167 jobs in the marine industry, including Tracker Division and Ranger and Flippin' and one other facility, and they cited it to poor economic marine sporting
they only
goods
cut
conditions.
jobs when everything's great.
That's right. But I've been the Debbie Downer of the group, saying that the marine industry and sporting goods industry is kind of on a downturn, and I don't think there's good times are coming. And we start talking about how the fishing tournament organizations really aren't helping it much either. So it's kind of a downward spiral. But that's a big red flag, D. We talked about how these high dollar boats are going to be tough to sell, and I think that's a big red flag to pay attention to, everybody, because I think boats are going to start getting cheap here in about 6 months.
It's hard to think about that, somebody like, Bass Pro can be, having trouble, and I'm not saying they're having troubles, but anytime they lay off people, guess
Yeah.
what? The end result means not making much money.
They didn't
That's
get to
right.
be Bass Pro making dumb economic decisions.
No.
Yeah.
But
You know.
But we
and-
don't want to trash.
and not in
Well,
their
kinda
defense,
do,
not in their defense any more than anything else.
Well,
But
dude.
Hey, to be unfiltered, you got to be
Yeah,
unfiltered.
go ahead.
100
Then I'm going to trash.
100
I'm going to trash Bass Pro tonight. Go ahead.
however many people you're talking about, now you do realize how many boat companies that entails.
Right, White River Marine. There's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them, and I'm not saying that's a good thing because I don't want all them people mad at me. But that's a lot of
It's American workers
yes,
without
it's a lot
jobs.
of people.
because
Yes.
the economy's so great.
That's right.
That's right. So and I'll look across the crowd and see if there's agreement or not. But what I just despise about Bass Pro, and this is where I'm at. When I was a kid, is because I'm still pretty young, right?
Yes.
Younger than all 2 of you combined.
Just a hair.
I used to love to go. I mean, a trip to Springfield to Bass Pro was like heaven for a fisherman. You go there and you could find all the new innovative baits. There was always like this custom stuff. There was always a multitude of colors. And it's just like anything else in the industry. It's kind of commercialized now. It's mostly BPS branded merchandise, and you don't have that nice flavor that you used to anymore. And I think that's why some of our other companies out there, like the one sponsoring the show tonight, was where you can find more of the unique, hard to find items that are like hot off the press, new good stuff. So that's my 2 cents.
I just hate getting asked if I want to buy a timeshare. If that's what happens the minute you walk in that door, hey, you want to buy a timeshare? No, I want to buy a jig.
But you can get a discount if you take a credit card.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Did you know
right.
that? I don't know.
There's
Do you
a-
offer that? Do you offer that over there? Hey, Yellow. Do you offer that too? Do you get credit card discounts when they go in your store? He's not going to comment. No credit card deals. So timeshares? No. Okay. Free fishing trips? Dang. All right. So anyway, yeah. So that's kind of my discourse with Bass Pro. I like going there. It's great.
Yeah.
The decor is cool and the stuffed
He's done
animals are
good for
awesome.
himself. You can't deny that.
I'm not knocking Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm just knocking that the people he's got in charge has kind of lost track of what fishermen really want. That's my opinion, my unfiltered opinion tonight. So there, you want to add to that and
Me?
defend it,
Not really.
play the other side of the fence.
Nah, well, he employs a lot of people.
And
It's
that's
great.
who,
I'm
that's
not
who,
saying
He
I'm not.
employs a lot
that's
of
who he's
people.
catering to.
I
He's
am
not catering
not saying.
to you,
I'm
the
not saying
fisherman.
that.
Yeah.
I will never say to not go to Bass Pro and buy anything until they build one next door to me,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to say don't go there. That sucks.
It's a very I see it from 2 or 3 different angles, but it's not a great time in the industry right now, for anything. And that's not just boats, that's boats, tackle, everything is kind of in a downward slump,
Prize money.
everything. Do I think that's
What'd you
because
say?
of
Prize money.
Prize money.
do I think that's because of the government? I'm the least political guy up here. But I know something's not good right now, so I couldn't have an adult conversation about who needs to be in office right now. But I know that in my industry, it's suffering right now. And,
Sure.
and it's suffering in every aspect. Like you said, from the tournaments clear down through people buying tackle and everything, it's
So what's
not
the,
a good time.
what's the answer, Andy?
What was the question?
How do you fix?
Oh,
How do you fix a failing?
I mean,
a
I
failing
like the
sporting
way
goods
things
industry?
was right before the scamdemic hit.
I like how you say scamdemic.
It was a scam.
You don't think it was real at all?
I think it was the flu, and people die from the flu every day.
But you can agree that it was an illness, right?
It was an illness.
And that was a huge boost to the sporting goods industry. You saw a 30-40%
That's
increase
right.
in sales.
That's right.
Kayak sales, people staying at home, tackle, campers. I mean, it was huge. But there was no
Here's some of
plan.
your tax money back now.
That's right. But the problem was that the powers that be, and I'm just as guilty as the rest of them. I own a small retail business. I didn't think at the time on how to capitalize and keep people in the outdoors. We never had a follow-up plan. So everyone enjoyed it, and then they went back to work, and then it went back away again. So we had this golden opportunity to grab them and keep them, and we didn't. And it was just as bad. I mean, you call it a long-term rewards program, but something to keep new people into the outdoors, back into the outdoors. Now all we see is a crap ton of kayaks for sale on Facebook.
Right.
You
They're
know,
all
and that's-
back in the office.
Well, they got called back,
Right.
yeah, but they
Right.
still have the weekends, and I think all of our good friends in the sporting goods industry fell short on that mark. That's my opinion. I mean, and of course, we were all just hoping to survive. We didn't know if it was real or not real, or
Right.
so we really didn't think about it at the time. But I'm sure thinking about it now, going, man, we missed an opportunity with kids fishing, with youth, with families, and we just missed the mark as the industry as a whole. And I don't know how we can ever get that opportunity back unless election year comes around, we find a new virus. But when it happens, then we'll come up with a new plan. Do you think there's going to be a new virus in November?
I think that was a practice run, but that's not our show tonight.
All right. So what do you want?
really don't want to crawl down that
I'm
rabbit hole with me, dude, because
well, we've known each other. I know where you stand. So
I mean,
you've said it plenty.
yeah, this is a fishing show.
All right. So you want to talk about a little fishing?
I did not bring my aluminum foil hat.
So Andy's a spinnerbait fisherman, just so you know, and all of his checks of cash this year were on a spinnerbait.
That is correct.
And I thought he was lying about it, but apparently not.
I really like spinnerbait. I got one tattooed on me, so that's how much I like it.
We have a term around here. It's called pulling a dummy. You ever heard that one? And that's not my term. That's his term, called pulling a dummy. That's when you walk up on stage and say, yeah, I caught him on a spinnerbait while you have jigs tied up in your rod box. So
That's not what I use it for. You have changed what I told you all around.
Again, it's up to you to believe this story. So that's what it is. Pulling a dummy, you were talking about going one direction and turning and going the other way in a boat. I remember.
Lead them astray.
It's calling me out. It's all right.
Lead them astray.
All right. So you haven't, are you honest every single time you win a tournament, stand up there on stage and say, I caught him on
A brown jig.
a
If
brown
I
jig,
don't,
black and blue jig? Yeah.
I don't go into great detail, but yeah, I tell them what I catch them on.
And most time, let's since we're gonna have, let's get to, I'm getting into fishing, Andy. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm with you.
I guess the question there is, I think it's okay to not tell the truth if you're fishing again next week and you're doing it for a living. But I think if you're a guy like me and you hit the mother lode one time, got lucky, I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm like, damn right I did it, because next week I'll never figure it out twice. So I might as well tell them what I did, because next week I'm gonna trash fish and figure out something else.
I just, if I catch them on a jig, which I do, that's kind of the way I like to fish. I just tell them I caught them on a jig. Do I tell them I caught them on a Hibdon's hammer? Nope, because I might have not caught them on a Hibdon's hammer. But I don't lie to them. I don't lie when it comes to getting on stage, because in the end, somebody's going to find out. In this
That's
day and
right.
age, my partner could have took a picture with his damn cell phone,
That's
know,
right.
or something else. He looks up there and he takes a picture of your jig hanging off the end of your pole right in his face. So in this day and age, it doesn't do any good to try to lie, because somebody's going to find out.
That's right. So, trying to think how to approach this in a civil manner, but I'm kind of fired up that I want to trash everybody today. Last week, we had Angler of the Week, and we celebrated the Big Bass Bash winner, and we did
Ricky Klum.
Ricky Klum for 500 career Bass Masters
That's
tournaments. Which
crazy.
is crazy, right?
Crazy cool.
Tonight, I'm going to do something different we've never done before. I'm revoking my Angler of the Week for the Big Bass Bash winner. I am.
Because
And I'm only saying this because Andy was there. So I was listening to another radio station, and they had the winner on. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying anything was wrong or bad. But I always looked at the Big Bass Bash as a true amateur tournament. That's why you can't fish,
mm-hmm.
because they don't do that. Dude, and
I
correct
can
me if I'm
fish it.
correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. This guy went on and he talked on the radio for a good 30 minutes.
I just friended him today on Facebook. There's a pretty good chance he's probably watching.
And that's fine.
Shane, if you're watching, chime in.
That's fine. It's just this guy
This dude is.
he was spot on. He knew
Really?
Where those fish were living. He talked in detail how they were living. He
Nice.
talked in detail how to approach a spawning fish. He talked in detail how they located them.
He's a $500,000 for going
And-
pro, dude.
And he
because
talked about
this
how
dude
him
is
and his,
organized
Yep.
like
him
none
and his friends
other.
got together. They went and scouted out these beds, and they rotated around, and because if one couldn't get in, the other guy would take a different approach. And it was a very well orchestrated,
It was
thought
a
out
good plan.
plan.
Huh.
But what it wasn't was an amateur angler who got lucky. It definitely was not. This guy is a tremendous angler, and I say that with all the respect in the world. I mean, but he was really good.
A card counter.
He was no. I mean, he talked about how how to approach a fish on a bed, and what angle you should take, and how they respond when you throw a bait on the bed. I mean,
Nice.
And this is how I
That's-
defended him.
let's hear it.
He gave two of the guys fishing that were setting on the fish $20,000, $10,000 apiece out of the winnings, and nothing was said about that. He just did that because they let him fish that fish. Two,
His
he's
buddies
fished
located
the
the big
bass.
fish.
He's fished the bass. I think he said 14. He might have been 16. Never cashed a check.
There you go.
So
I'm saying he deserves the Angler of the Week.
they hooked this fish. It got off. They couldn't get him to bite again, so they call him up and they're like, "Hey, she's not gonna. This is the fish. We can't do it." And he came up there and he said, "You guys mind if I take a shot at it?" Boats are side by side. He flipped up a little shaky head, black and purple,
Yep.
and she engulfed it. And he said the guys around him were saying, set the hook, set the hook.
And he
And he's
couldn't
like,
see it.
I couldn't see him. I wanted to make sure. Like I said, very articulate on how
How
it
about
happened.
that?
Caught that fish and landed it. So I thought that was pretty cool,
Yeah.
but not very amateur. I just don't.
Yeah, but you can't. They call the bash an amateur tournament, dude. It's $100,000.
That's right.
There's nothing amateur about that. And if those guys put it to good use and use their heads, more power to them.
They do, but they tout it as the single largest
Sure.
amateur tournament. So I have it's just kind of a little edge. So
Huh.
took a group, takes a village.
That's right. That's
But
right.
see, if we pulled fish as a tournament, you
Dude,
get in trouble.
Do they
you
think I don't help my only son
Not
that
the Angry
fishes it?
Pirate tournament.
Do they think that his brothers don't try to help him? Yeah. I mean, we try to help Connor when he's in it, any way we can.
Right. And
Is he
he's-
going to give us 10,000? I
Yeah.
doubt that very
That was
seriously.
my argument.
I'm pretty sure that's
you know,
not
he's,
happening.
he's
But
not won anything.
yeah,
He's cashing checks.
He,
Connor's cashing
Yeah,
checks.
I'm talking about Shane Tinsley that
Oh,
won
yeah.
$100,000.
Right.
That's the first money he ever won.
Maybe
How big of a pro can he be?
that's
maybe-
pretty cool.
maybe there's a little tinge of jealousy there.
I'm feeling it,
Because
bro.
last week we talked about I'm
Feeling it.
horrible at sight fishing. I hate that shit.
I do too.
But he had it down.
Luckily,
I
the
mean,
Corps of
down.
Engineer makes it so I don't have to deal with it very
That's
much.
So,
right.
yeah.
That's
So
right.
Shane, I'm not.
There you go.
I'm
That
not
was a nice
trashing.
gouge
So,
right there. That's
so
perfect.
again, I'm not trashing him. I just, he had a lot of help.
You give
So-
him props for real.
I
Everything
do,
you said was
yeah.
true.
No, I gave him, but
And he
all through
was-
the year, I guess I could say it was.
If he listens to this and he's offended by that, that's bad on his part because
Yeah.
hell, that's just good thinking.
Yeah, but my point
they
is,
use their head.
I can't give an angler of the week to a group of 6.
Well,
Follow me?
I don't know. Why wouldn't you? It's your rules.
That's right. There are my
That's
rules.
right.
So I'm
It's
revoking my
unfiltered.
angler of the week, and that's that.
it's me and you that pretty much run this show.
That's
So
right.
why do we care?
That's right. Don't
You
care.
know.
So anyway,
If you want to take away his angler of the week, so be it.
no, I'm taking my half back.
There you go.
Won't take it away from Ricky though. So,
I'm not taking it away from the dude because I think that's well thought out.
That's
I
called.
agree.
This is the
Yeah.
part of the show.
I
It's called.
agree.
Just so everyone online is watching, this is called creating controversy. I did that on
Right.
purpose.
Yeah.
Which is 90% of everything that falls out of your head.
That's right. I mean, we can talk about your dreadlocks. We can talk about why.
Cornrows.
So let's can we get off of fishing for just a second? Talk about something else, real quick.
Let's
It's your
depend on
show.
what it
You're the
is.
So-
boss.
yeah.
No, I'm asking permission because it's going to be whether you're going to want to talk about it or not.
Yeah,
So
this is
hey,
not
Dion, Andy applied for Naked and Afraid on TV. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And he actually, from the way I understand it, could have been on
I had this problem called a job
the job.
that really messed me up.
Pulled you right back in.
Well, they wanted me, can you be in Vancouver tomorrow at 10 a.m.? I don't know anybody that can be in
That would be a
Vancouver
pretty tough
tomorrow
call.
at 10
That's right.
a.m. I was like, no. And so that was the end of it. But it was a hell of a process to get there because I went through about 4 different vettings to get that far. A fat, retired Marine combat
It would have
vet,
been
prison
it would have been
guard,
great.
bass fisherman.
That's right.
Yeah.
It
So
would've
that
been
one thing you
awesome.
could have stuck in your rear end when you went up there. Don't you get to put one thing in your butt to go that you can take out
I
and use as a
haven't
tool
heard
later?
that. I have not heard that.
They didn't tell you that?
I've
I thought
watched
that's-
nearly every episode and have not seen that
Do you get to
revealed.
take one tool with you?
No.
Nothing.
Actually, it wasn't Naked and Afraid I was trying to get on. It was Alone. But Naked and Afraid sells more stories, so we went with that. And actually, a little known fact is when they interview you, you're in the pot for every reality show that's on TV, even though you're trying to get on Survivor or Alone or Naked and Afraid.
You're a willing body.
You can land on
Yeah.
Love Island
Is that
unless
why
you look like me.
Is that why you see the same dudes and the same chicks on like all the
a lot of
shows?
them, and what they sell. People tune in to see those people.
Well, they say sex sells, right?
Yeah, the Kardashian, for the life of me,
Uh-huh.
and my daughter's watching this, who knows everything there is to know about Kardashians. I don't get it. It must be like watching tournament fishing to
I never
people that
did.
don't fish.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never got that either, but it is what it is.
And it's the Kardashians are worth way more money than competitive fishing is right now.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure I could stay on that alone for, what is it, 40 days? or
Alone
something?
is whoever lasts
That's
the
what I'm
longest.
saying,
until
You get to take 10 items.
You can tap out.
It's a fun game to play with your grandkids because they'll get into it big.
I thought you were
Yeah.
gonna I thought you were gonna drop your kids off somewhere, your grandkids off, like see if you
Now,
can make
me and
them.
my grandson,
what are you talking
we've
about?
been through these 10 items.
Damn.
The automatic things that you're going to bring for sure is a fire starter, a pot, and an axe or a knife. And then there's those other 5 things. Well, you're going to bring a rope and a tarp. Should you bring a flashlight? You can bring a flashlight. You could bring a water bottle. It gets to flipping. Do you want to bring a saw or an axe or shovel?
A whole hog and a 5-gallon
No,
jug
you
of water.
can't bring any of that.
No, all right.
If you haven't watched the show, it's quite entertaining, really. And
It
whoever
doesn't
lasts the longest wins 100
Huh.
grand, I think. Maybe it's 500 grand.
I actually think that happened to me once.
Yeah.
I got dropped off in gravel this one time.
That was Naked and Afraid.
I
That's a
didn't think
different show.
I didn't think I was ever going to make it out.
Did you have your clothes on?
Yeah,
Jeez.
most of the time.
Oh, mercy. I kind of got stuck on Oak Island. You ever watch that one?
No.
Really, that's a cool one. There's an island out in
Digging
Nova
for treasure?
Scotia. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been looking at it for 200 years, and I've watched the thing for like 10 years. They still haven't found anything but like 2 spoons and a couple of beads. It was like crazy. And I still watch it like they're going to find something today. And then it dawned on me because I worked in TV, and you guys you've worked on TV before at some point, have you?
No.
So here's the little secret about TV. Everything that's on TV was last year. You know, by the time it airs, it was
Right.
last year.
Right.
So if they found the Holy Grail, we would have known by now.
Yeah.
You know, if they would have found like some kind of religious artifacts down in Nova Scotia, we would definitely know by now. So yeah, they haven't found anything this year either. It kind of sucks. And feeling, so next year I'm not going to find anything either, but another 3 spoons and 5 weighing beads. So yeah, that was the big highlight last night. They found three lead circles, look like plug knockers, and they said these could have been used to exchange for golden treasure. I'm like, what? It's like there's a hunk of lead in the ground.
That actually happened in bass fishing once.
Oh yeah.
Those treasure
Walleye, too.
those
Oh, my
treasure
God.
hunters. No, not that.
Nice one.
Those treasure hunters came up with the world bass deal like 30 years ago, and he was like a treasure hunter, found like billions of dollars and stuff, and ended up wasn't freaking true.
He faked it.
He faked it and took a bunch of bass fishermen's money.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Last week we talked about, I knew there was a group of guys who are going to go to Japan or somewhere for the world record. I still haven't heard anything yet. I don't think that's
How
gonna
long's
happen.
it been?
Probably.
About 3 weeks. There's those big fish hunters out there.
Right.
So I saw on one of their Facebook posts, and I'm not even going to give any of those guys the time of day on my podcast right now, but they were like, big things are coming. We're going to chase the world record. More information to come. And so we decided they're definitely going to Japan, because otherwise they'd say, hey,
Is
we're going to
one of them a
California.
really big asshole?
Correct.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Correct.
about.
Yeah. So
That's
we were,
a good clue to all you listeners.
That's right. So anyway, I'm still waiting for the world record to happen. It hasn't done it yet. So yeah, there's that.
There's a great book out called Cell Belly by Monty Birch.
Yeah.
And it's all about the sickness that bestows you when you catch an upper teen bass. And it causes you to quest for the world record. It's a great read. And there's guys in California, there's guys in Texas, there's guys in Alabama. There's a farmer in Alabama trying to grow the next world record with a trout lake out there. Still got to be caught, but
It'll come out of a pond next,
You think farm
Yeah.
pond? A 20 something?
just because they feed them. You know,
What was Perry's record? Do you remember?
23.
22.4?
Yeah.
22.4. You think a farm
22.4.
pond can grow in that big?
Yeah.
Huh.
Right food.
I'm trying to grow a yellow perch in my aquarium right now. I can't get him
I
past
fished-
about
The
5
environment's
inches.
too small.
I fished Ray Scott's private lake once in that Eagles of Angling deal. Oh yeah, yeah. It'll pop out of one like that one of these.
Was that the one with the president?
Yes.
Fish with Bush? Senior?
Yes.
Yeah.
Senior.
Or was it
Yeah.
junior?
Senior.
Senior. Yeah. That's got to be kind of cool, right?
It was. It was different. Yes.
Never got to fish with the
A
president.
lot of Secret Service.
They fishing too?
No.
Swimming around making
No,
sure you
they're
You know, they
stand-
pop up out of the
No,
weeds
they're-
real quick with
They're
their
standing
glasses
around
on.
holding guns.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice.
No, we actually, the first tree that we pitched to was a giant willow tree right by Ray's house, big decorative willow tree in the water, and you could only keep 5 fish. That's it. If you culled, you had to cull it when you caught it. If it went in the box, you had to keep it. Well, everybody's guessing, is it going to take a limit of 10 pounders or is it going to take, a limit of 6 pounders? And, we're sitting there, me and Dad, and we had drawn this hole right next to Ray's house. So we had to travel, and everything was trolling motor. So we didn't have to travel nowhere. When they set us off, we're right there.
Describe holes for viewers that don't know what
Well,
you mean.
holes that are, 200 by 200 yards, something like
Numbers.
that. Yeah, and they're all numbered off, sectioned off, had signs up where we knew we couldn't get into somebody else's hole. And every few minutes, every 30 minutes, you change holes. And the one where we started in was right by Ray's house. And we're getting all of our stuff all rigged up. And Dad says, I'm catching a big one right there. Well, you caught a big one off of everything you throwed at. I mean, literally, there was big ones standing everywhere. And I skip back into this big willow tree, and my line jumps. I set the hook, catch about a 6-pounder, throw it up in the boat, and I said, are we keeping it or are we culling it? And Dad's like, throw it back. It was your first cast. That's unlucky. Throw it back, stood up, made another skip, and catch another one, and it's maybe a half a pound bigger. And as I'm landing it, Dad's like, "Oh my God, look at that tree!" And we're looking at the base of this tree, and there's bubbles just start rolling up everywhere. And I thought, "Holy crap! There's a huge school of fish there." I throw the fish up in the boat. Dad can't even focus to help me land the fish. He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Look at that." And out come crawling up in the tree limbs a frogman with a weapon, crawls up in the crotch of the tree, pulls his mask off real fast. He says, "It's full of them." I'm like, "I kind of knew that, you know."
It used to be. Yeah, not anymore.
He said, "I can't believe your jig wasn't that far from me when it first came out." I'm like, there you go. But yeah, there was, the fun part about it was there was you got to see all kinds of firepower. And the sad part of it is when you're hillbilly like we are, and you're the only one that doesn't have it, oh yeah, that's a bad deal. That's a bad deal. But we were well guarded, let's put it that way.
We've got lots of stories to come, Andy, but we try to show each other up on all the craziest stuff we've seen, traveling all over the country, fishing. Can you tell me what the strangest thing you've ever seen fishing, or something that sets you apart from everything else? Like, I was here when this happened, and I was fishing. Do you have any story like that? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I mean, well, don't put me on the spot or nothing, but
if you
Come
don't,
up
that's
with-
fine.
come up with it right now.
come to mind, I was down at the dam last summer, one hot Saturday night, and we heard this hellacious crash, and it was the boat that jumped through the house.
Oh, really?
We were fishing right there. We heard the crash, and it was like the guy I was fishing with. He said, "Man, somebody wrecked," and I said, "Yeah, they did." And then within seconds, there were so many EMT and police, and everybody was on the scene because the boat, it was full of people. And you know, I said when I drove past that, I don't know the name of that point where that house is, but it's a wonder we haven't had more crashes there because it sticks way out in the lake.
It's
And
Duckhead.
and the house
It
that's
was Duckhead
called
Point.
Duckhead.
Yeah, Duckhead
Yeah.
Point. Yeah.
and the house is up on it. They never have a light on that house. I mean, it's dark as a sack full of black cats. And we went by it, and I said to my partner, I said, "I can't believe they don't have more wrecks there." And it wasn't 2 hours later. And if they would have hit that about 5 feet more to the left, they would have cleared it and kept right on going down the lake. But they just happened to pick where the house was to try to go through the spot and landed on their deck. It was quite the sight.
It's a rookie story, isn't it?
Beer cans and everything.
That's a
I
rookie
didn't
that's a
see any
rookie
beer
story,
cans.
isn't it, D?
It is.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
rookie.
okay. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
You'll get there, man. It's okay. You want us to up you a little?
Sure.
We have both been fishing on a lake when the shuttle crashed at 2 different times.
Well, I can jump in that mix too.
Well, come on, let's go. That's what I was getting at.
all
That's right.
right.
And we're not going to get into the big stories. Let's hear it now.
Well,
Now we
that's
got.
been what?
We just primed the pump. Let's go.
That's been what? 2000. I don't know when.
One
that-
was 2000. One was
30 years ago.
Yours was earlier.
One was
I was
30
on,
years
I
ago.
was on Toledo Bend when the shuttle crashed into.
Really, I was on Rayburn fishing in the FLW tournament same weekend.
What year was that?
That was 2000, I think. 2000, 2001 when it was Challenger, right? Or That was
Yeah.
Columbia. You saw Challenger,
Challenger was
in Florida.
One
We were
that was
Columbia
coming
in
back
Texas.
in that
Yeah.
burned up. The
So
other
I
was
was on-
going out.
So this gets even better. We were on adjoining lakes. It crashed in the middle, by the way. The bulkhead went into Toledo. The fragments were back in Rayburn. But yeah, you were
They
down there.
found parts in Hemphill, Texas.
Did you get stopped by anybody?
We didn't. They wouldn't let us go on the lake.
See, we were already on the water and came off. We got interrogated when we came off, looking
Oh.
for coordinates.
We couldn't get
pieces
on
that
it. The
fell.
lake was
Yep.
closed. All the ramps were closed.
Yep.
It was those buddy of yours from the Secret Service.
There you go. Well, that's see.
They were
this-
looking. I mean,
They're very serious.
This
yeah,
whole
yeah, they
space
playing.
shuttle story is getting better and better as it
They
goes.
playing.
You know. So now he was on one side, I was on the other. Did you drive through town that afternoon?
No.
Were you drunk?
Were
Were you really there?
I don't know. I heard that story somewhere.
I love it.
No, we went there. We were in the Alpine Resort, which
That's
is
creepy.
in Hemphill, Texas.
I couldn't remember where we stayed because I was too fascinated with Ann's bait and tackle and everything else down there. It's crazy. And
What was the tackle store in Manny, Louisiana?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a good one. Right
Honey,
across
is that Honey Hole?
It's
No, that's
That's down all the way down.
That's where all Bo Dowden's kids work.
All right.
It was on the other side of the bridge. It was a hell of a tackle store.
Yep.
They had critter getters in there.
Did you say Crater Gator?
Critter getters.
Critter Getters.
That's what she told me I needed, and I bought 100 of them.
Huh.
Still got a few of them, dude.
See, back in the day, this is a true story, and you've been there. Ann's Bait and Tackle in Rayburn, the Bill Lewis Rattle Trap was just right down the road, and the big thing back in the early 2000s was ticking rattle traps on grass when there was grass in Rayburn. But they had this deal down there. Red was the color on Rayburn. It was always that dark, kind of a winey red color. And Ann would go to Bill Lewis, and they would take a chrome rattle trap and have them custom painted with an overspray. And it was like this red chrome. And people would stand in line and beg to buy those baits from her. And you had to go and get them, and it was pretty cool.
She would get a specialty color almost every year.
Yep, and that's their system was really cool. They had two, and it's why our store is the way it is. We have 2 counters. That is a tribute to Ann, and I've said this a million times. She had, and the reason I did that at the time, never had any indication I was going to open a tackle store, but standing there, and she had a counter at the very back of the store and a counter at the very front of the store, and the salesman walked in, and we were waiting in line to get rattle traps, and he yells across the store, he's like, Ann, and she's like, and this is not exactly accurate, but it's pretty close. I think she called him a stupid son of a bitch. At the cross store, she went, you stupid son of a bitch. Don't you know what the difference is between a money-taking counter and a bullshitting counter is? And she's like, oh, he said, Aunt. She's like, no, too late. Get your ass on out of here. And she kicked him out. I mean, he could have been a rattle trap executive. But at that point, I went, that's cool. They have a place where people can check out, and then all the guys want to spin and talk, they do it back to the other counter. And that keeps the traffic flow and keeps the money going. I'm like, it's pretty cool.
I remember talking to you about that when you guys were on 135.
Yep. And so that's why still to this day we have 2 counters. One where Dad can sit back there and fix reels, bullshit with the guys, and then there's one where we just do business and take money. And it's a very successful plan. But man, her store was so narrow, you had to stop and let somebody walk out the aisle so you go back in. So the guy was standing in the back, and by the time I come up to the counter, she goes, "What do you want?" And I said, "Miss Ann, please, is there a chance I can get one of those rattle traps?" She went, "No." I was like, "Okay." And I walked away. She started laughing. She goes, "Get back over here, boy." She reached underneath. She goes, "On here, fish the inside grass line." I said, "All right." And she handed me one. And I said, "Can I have one for my dad?" And she's like, "Yeah." She grabbed another one and gave it for my dad. And I left there, and I thought, what the hell is the inside grass line? I didn't have a clue. You know what that is?
No.
Yeah, you do, right?
It gets too shallow.
Yeah, when grass grew in Texas, it would grow like a strip around the bank. But there was 3 foot from the shore to the grass, and then out in the deep water. So you had to fish. You had to kind of come in and fish the shallow side and run that rattle trap right on the edge of that grass line. They would come out and whack it. Fish on the deep side, it wouldn't bite.
It was really.
They should kill all that.
It was really pronounced. Oh, that's good.
That's what the assholes done.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah. They did kill the grass there.
Yeah, and then poor lakes suffer now worse than ever.
Exactly.
But it was really where that inside grass line really made a difference was when the water would come up a little bit. It'd come up 4 or 5 feet. Then your inside grass line's 5 foot deep.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, but
you could barely see the grass too.
Some of the best tournaments were when they were trying to spawn, and they would be right on the inside grass line. And I remember one. I was, they wanted a bigger bait, and so we were throwing a 3/4 ounce, and by the second day of the tournament, I had a blister on the side of my thumb from throwing it out there and having to stop it, and getting it going so quick. And like I say, that inside grass line stuff, that was awesome. And we used it all. Hell, I've used it all over the world.
Yep. That's what I was introduced there to the Bonnard bass rig. Do you remember those? And I'll explain it to you because I guarantee you guys have both seen it. It was an egg sinker, and what we were doing, you were throwing like a Carolina rig with a centipede, and you would throw it into the grass, and you pull that weight into the grass line, so the centipede was kind of outside the edge. But they had drilled it out, and they put like a BB chain in it, and it had a big ring eye on each end. So when you pulled it in, you could throw that weight, and it would sink, and then you could run that chain through, and at least get a little bit more distance and get that
right
worm working before it actually hit the weight and started dragging. It was called a Bonnard bass rig. It was cool as hell. And they just disappeared like any other small business over time. But it was really cool. I liked it. So that's my Rayburn story. And we've all been around the shuttle crash. So whoop-de-doo. Now what?
Whoop-de-doo.
It was cool though.
Mine was
I've been there 3 times. Space shuttle crashed once, and 2 hurricanes came the other 2 times. And it's still one of the best crappie lakes I ever been to in my life.
We're gonna talk crappie.
I'm just saying.
Okay, I was just checking to see we're like making a segue.
I was on Okeechobee when the other one blew up.
Yep.
It was
We're
crazy.
gonna-
I mean, it was right there.
And we're gonna have a commemorative storytelling on the shuttle crashes at another time. We're not gonna do
Yeah.
it tonight because we're already 45 minutes in, and that's gonna take another hour. Because then it's gonna go into when you saw 9/11 because you're up there with 9/11.
Yep.
When the towers went down, you were fishing tournament there too, so we got that story also. And we're not gonna go there tonight. So, what's your favorite lake,
Dang,
Andy?
you got us all
wow.
wound up and then jerked the rug out.
It's called a teaser.
Now what are we
Stay-
going for?
Stay tuned next week. We might talk about
That's right.
havoc
Absolutely.
and
Lake.
dangers and horrors of the United States. No. You got a good one?
Man. I'm pretty fond of the lake we stay on up in Minnesota, which is Gull Lake, which is a baby lake of the Ozarks. Nobody fishes it because it's full of those surfing boats and jet skis.
Yep.
So the fishing's really good.
Yeah.
It's 100 fish a day, kind of flipping a jig under a dock, 30 fish under every dock,
It-
100 fish a day. I'm not exaggerating. It is why it's my favorite lake.
Gotcha. I never think I've ever asked you. You
What's
got
that?
one?
What?
Favorite lake?
Favorite lake?
Favorite lake? Yeah.
I don't know. I like lots of them. I mean, I probably one of my favorite ones for fishing that I've fished a lot of times is probably Lake Champlain. I mean,
Yeah.
just because you can catch everything, catch
Didn't you-
both.
You fished Cuba, haven't you?
No.
You didn't? Did
Nope.
your dad fish Cuba?
Yep.
I knew one of you went to Cuba and fished.
Yep, he went one time.
He did Japan also. Did
Yep.
you do Japan?
Yep.
You did, because I think you told me stories about interpreters and that kind of stuff.
I cracked him in Japan. That was fun.
Did you?
We fished. We went 3 times, 2 times for tackle shows, and then one time we went for 19 days and we fished 3 different bass tournaments. And I finished second in 2 of them and third in the other one. And it was during the spawn. They were trying to spawn, and I don't think those guys had ever seen that. And it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's the difference between cracking them and whacking them?
Cracking them and whacking them?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you said you cracked them. And I've heard you say you whacked them.
I usually whack them.
You whack them?
I've been whacking my whole
What's your
life.
favorite? I don't want to start talking about whacking it.
Yeah.
What's
You
your
asked.
However you want to throw it out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I never cracked them.
what's your favorite term for a bass other than calling it a bass?
A swamp donkey.
Swamp donkey. What about you?
biggin.
Biggin? I always just say there he is. Oh, there he is.
You ever wrong?
Biggin.
Yeah,
Biggin.
all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Is it a biggin?
Biggin comes out every time
Yeah.
somebody catches one.
Did you just say biggin when you set the hook? Oh, biggin.
If I need the net, yeah. If I call for the net, it's pretty damn serious. I can tell you that right now because I don't call for the net unless they're
How do you call
4
for
or
the
5
net?
pounders.
You say net.
No, it's not that polite.
If the
No, if I need the
Bassmaster
net-
There's
Classic
profanity
champ
involved.
If
calls
I
for
need-
the net, you get the net.
If I need the net and I need
You don't
somebody
question it.
else's assistance, it's pretty damn serious.
Well, I'm just checking. I don't know the protocol
And
there.
if I feel like you're not hustling around long enough, I'm going to tell you to
I got
hurry
you.
up. You know.
Using the F protocol.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But I really
Get the mother effing net.
That's
Got
right.
it. I got it.
that's right. If it's
I did
serious,
not
it's
stutter.
serious.
I got you. All right. That's cool. I'm just asking. You know?
I'm
Having
not-
fished with a few Hibdons, this is what I noticed. When they catch one, they won't say nothing. And it'll be flopping around in the boat, and it'll be a good one. But when they say net, you know it's time to get fired up because you know it's a big one.
Gotcha.
And I never heard one of them say get the MF in the net.
I've
So I don't even know. I'd
Well,
probably,
I don't
I've,
know.
I've boat flopped several of them 8-9 pounders in my life. It happens. You don't think about it; it just happens. But
once they start coming, you just
once
keep
they start
coming.
coming, throw his ass in the boat.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't play him in the lake.
I think out of all the Hibbons, I think he's probably the most whiny one. I think that's where that's at.
Really?
Yeah.
You never did fish with my dad, did you?
I'm out.
No, I don't think I did. I was thinking about it. I fished with you once. I don't think I ever fished with your dad, but we talked about it a lot, so I feel like I have. And then I followed him out of the fog one time. Was one of the greatest days of my life.
Followed him out of the fog.
Followed him out of the fog, out of the back of the Gravois.
Really?
Because he,
Oh, in the white bass deal.
Oh yeah, you remember
Yes.
that day?
Yes.
Yes, I did. It's one of those deals where you never trust another angler.
Uh-huh.
You just don't, you don't run in the dark. You don't run in the fog. But he says, "Boys, just get behind me. I'll get you out there." And I thought, okay, this is going to be something. So I think you were in that line too. There's a line of
absolutely.
us. It was fogged in so solid, and there's one guy that probably knows every stick and inch of the gravel.
Yes.
John's probably hit him. So he takes off on plane, boom. So Dion gets behind him, boom, puffs up. I pop behind them, and he'd go a little bit, and he'd shut her back down, boom, and we'd all shut down, and it's like everybody pull, and a big boat go by, whoosh. It's like holy shit, back up and away we go again. And it's pretty soon, a couple miles out of the way, we're down around the corner, and we all opened it up and took off. And it's one of those cool experiences to see somebody who knows a lake so well that you probably could have blindfolded him and plugged his ears and gagged his mouth, and he still would have found the mouth of that cove.
And it was before all the blue lights on the docks. Too.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's just something that's happened in the last 10 years.
And that was in the infancy of GPS too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, back in the
Yeah.
day, you can run off a damn compass. You ever see them old boats? Every one of them's got a compass on them.
Mhm.
Then that's where them old farts ran.
that was cool. And the second cool thing I could say about White Bass Tournament was that I pre-fished with you one day, and you won't remember this. It's totally irrelevant, but when you see some really cool stuff, and somebody's like the best angler you've ever been in the boat with you.
Right.
So we're fishing down this bank, and we're in Indian Creek, which is a pretty prominent creek in Gravois, and he's explained to me, these fish are here, there, fish are there. That was the bobber story that same day. But I was casting the bank, and I hear a fish splash behind me. It breaks up and splashes. And when I looked around to see what had splashed, his lure had already hit the pool. I mean, it was just like I hear a splash, and I look around, and the lure's like, patoosh, and he's setting the hook on it. And I was like, damn, that's freaking like superhuman. That's like super cool. That thing had to start to splash when he was making the cast. I heard the aftermath, and he was already on it. I was like, damn, that's impressive when you've been on the water that long, and just like that. You don't remember that, do you? Because you probably do it all the time. Or you probably went, holy shit, I got really lucky. That was cool. I hope he thought it was awesome. I'm like,
that white bass tournament. Now I'm just going to tell you right now, the first time we fished it, somebody cheated. There's no doubt in my mind somebody cheated.
with the stripers?
Yes,
Yeah, I remember that night.
somebody cheated. So needless
And
to say,
it wasn't you.
no, it was not me. I did not.
'Cause you
But
ran-
somebody weighed in a dead one.
You ran all the way to the ledge that year.
Oh yeah,
And caught him good.
yeah. I ran. Me and Lawson, we cranked up and we came all the way up here to the ledge, which is about a 65-mile trip
Yeah, for a $40
just to win a white bass tournament.
yeah.
But yeah, we pulled in there.
Winners win.
We
That's
caught
right.
we caught 4 of those big hybrids and turned around and ran all the way back. And but yeah, we got cheated that first year, and it pissed me off. I thought I'm winning this from now on if I have to cheat. And needless to say, they did not let that dude fish anymore.
Yeah. He had like a true striper.
His fish stunk.
Yeah, it was
One
like
of them stunk.
Like
It
a
had been
12
dead so
It was
long.
like a 12-pounder.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what the Angry Pirate and Bryant ought to do is bring that white bass tournament back.
I'd like to. Problem is,
let's do it.
we got to give a free breakfast because that was the big deal. They all
We
went
could
for
do
the
that.
breakfast.
We
Yeah.
could do that.
What was
So-
that? Whitrock?
They did it. It was the Lions Club.
Yeah, the
which
Lions
they're,
Club.
They're
and-
not there anymore. So yeah,
What's
the
that?
Gravois Lions Club did it because we all met up
What
there
was
and had
his
breakfast
name?
that
It's
morning. Yeah,
Larry-
it was Larry Whitrock.
Larry
yeah.
Whitrock.
I think he's still around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a cool deal, but the lodge disbanded and we all just kind of quit doing it. You know, but we can bring it back. It'd be fun.
It's coming back. I'm going to do it.
All right, well, let's do it. I'll help you.
I've actually had a lot of people ask me about that. If I would do.
It was really. I mean, there were people that came. I'm like the Cadies. They
Yeah.
they fish it every year. They own the barbecue place in
Right,
Sedalia. They used to
right.
come down and fish it too. And I mean, it was kind of like it was almost a family event.
And when you
It was-
say the Cadies, that's Ned Rigg, Mr. Ned Rigg. That's the Katie he's talking about.
Seriously,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Ned.
Interesting.
Come on. You knew that. I
Did
told
not.
you
I
that.
did not. Well, I don't
Yeah.
listen all the time.
Yeah, that's Mr. Ned Rigg.
If it's interesting, I listen. But sometimes you'll like say something like, whatever.
My dad guided him for his whole life, or my dad's whole life. And Ned was always the guy that made the comment. He said, bass fishing's always fun. And he said, it's never hard. He said, you just might not be trying hard enough. And he always carried around a spinning rod that had 6-pound line on it. And he would go down to a marabou jig or a crappie grub, but he was always going to catch some bass. So when he came up with the Ned rig, yeah, there was no doubt who could come up with that. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
Didn't know that.
That's cool.
still alive and kicking today.
What'd you invent?
Let's
Just kidding.
see. I tell you what I was in on the beginning of, believe it or not, the minnow shot.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, sir.
That shit was
Yes,
around
sir.
in the 80s.
Let me tell you about that place.
Was
What is it now? Is it still Big
It's still
Dicks?
Big
or
Dicks,
You
yeah.
can't say Big Dicks.
Yeah, you can say
Big
Big
Dick's halfway in.
That's right.
Used to be
it's
Dick.
unfiltered.
It was Dick's.
Dick's had he
And
sold
his name
minnows,
was Dick. Yeah.
He sold minnows, and there was 3 bar stools.
Yep.
And if your ass got there early enough, you could sit in one of them and have a cold beer.
Yep.
And Shorty Moore, rest his soul, he used to be my right hand man back in the day, and that was the funniest guy I ever met. But he told me, he said, "You want to shoot a minnow?" And I said, "What do you mean shoot a minnow? Shoot a minnow with a gun?" He said, "No, dumbass, we'll put it in a shot glass and shoot him down with beer." I said, "Beer? All right, I'm in." And so we shot a minnow, and the guys all thought it was funnier than hell. And then lo and behold,
Mhm.
the
Now
college
it's a
kids
big
start
deal.
coming to the
Yeah.
Lake of the
Yep.
Ozarks.
Now they sell $1
and
million a year in
they
T-shirts.
went,
Good for
and
them.
it's cool. And now Big Dick's is, I mean, it's huge.
It's a chain. They're down in.
It's
They're,
huge.
they went down to the East Coast. Did you know that?
Huh.
Then they started another chain of stores down there. Do you know what they're called?
What?
The Salty Seaman. SEAMAN. The Salty Seaman. They sell shirts there with Big Dick. So yeah,
Well, it
it's a
sure
true
was-
story. I think they're in Hilton Head, somewhere down that way. They have a chain of stores down there too.
I really
And
wish
just
Go
I'm going. I'm saying just like Missouri, once they opened it, you remember they tried to shut them down up here. in
Oh,
Oh
Missouri.
yeah,
They're like,
that's
"This
why
is-
I thought the
you
name
can't
would
sell
change.
pornography. This is horrible." And they opened up the Salty Seaman down there and went through the same deal, and they're running. So another deal,
I
quite
wish,
the deal.
I wish they'd put a new
But,
light bulb in their sign.
But I'm calling foul on that one. I think you weren't old enough. Maybe Shorty was involved, but I'm calling foul.
I was older
No.
than Shorty.
Yeah. How old are you now? 73?
No,
72?
56.
Really?
It's a good year.
Same
It's a
year?
good year.
You're 56.
Yes,
I got you beat. I'm the pup of the group.
that's right.
53.
And it shows every day.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
My roommate Peter T. He's always talked about opening up his own restaurant because Peter T's giant mammoth of a man. He's big dude, 6'4", big man, and he's going to call it Big Peter's Hangout Over the River.
Nice.
That's perfect.
It's a good name.
I mean, and it would be awesome.
Yeah. I don't,
No,
I
he has.
I don't have a good name
He's
for
still
myself.
not retired yet enough to do that.
You can't name yourself. Somebody's got to
Yeah,
name
so
you.
you got to get the
That's
name.
how it happens.
But you didn't name Angry Pie yourself?
No,
That came?
that came.
You don't have missing teeth, do you?
I do.
Do you? One? Just like the one there? You got a high one?
I got a.
Do you have
No.
your there it is. Do you have a peg leg?
I was
or-
going to get them fixed, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
eyeball
this
missing.
Angry Pirate thing
It could
is
work.
going pretty good.
It could kick
And,
off.
I got hit in the mouth with a fist or softball or something way back about 2020 or 2000. And them teeth just kind of hung around there for 20 years. And one day I noticed that tooth was hanging down real low, and I thought, that's some bitch going to fall out. And if it didn't, and I could eat so much better that loose son of a bitch was out of my mouth.
Didn't hurt
I was
you
like,
as
I'm
bad.
going to live like this for a little
right.
bit. Yeah, it didn't hurt me a bit. Look
Well,
at me.
it's really popular in England. You'd be
It
sexy
is.
there.
Well,
You know?
I need to get it fixed, though.
Man.
My kids hate it. They can't
Then,
understand.
then you're gonna
I
get-
look like I'm from the Ivy Bend.
You're gonna get that weird. Everyone will look at you really weird for like a decade. They'll look at you all weird because they'll be like straight and pretty, and they'll think like something happened to you.
It did.
And it's like, no, I mean it's.
Something happened to me
I
real
mean,
bad.
I think you ought to come
I
up
am
with a
from
better.
the Ivy Bend,
You
by
should,
the way.
you should come up with a better story, though. I mean, that's.
Well,
I mean, shit, you were in the freaking war.
Yeah.
Come
yeah,
on. Say you got
but they
knocked out
fix-
by a
they-
mortar round
they
or
fix
something.
your
yeah.
teeth, though.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
They'll
leave
fix
me
your
like
teeth.
this.
Yeah.
The old guy at the bar, he didn't give a damn.
He thought it was just.
He thought your teeth look better now, you mouthy son of a
That's
bitch.
right. That's normally the way those end
Oh,
up. Yeah.
good lord.
Or I might have got hit in the mouth with a softball. One
That-
of those two things.
Either one
no.
very dangerous.
All I know is when someone yells duck, you don't turn around. You just duck.
You just duck. Take their word for it.
Yeah. Or you walk around with your grill knocked out.
Yeah.
So you got a fishing tip for us? We strayed from fishing tonight, and that's okay. You know, we always have. You got a secret you want to give up tonight?
I mean, I got in the check line in Palmy throwing my crappie rod. Look, like Dion was talking about earlier, and I wanted to pitch that jig so bad. I tried to will it, and
Sometimes you got to do what you
I
got
was
to
getting
do.
the shit kicked out of me by
Yeah.
my co-angler throwing a
I-
weightless Senko on a sissy stick. And I ain't no dummy.
Sissy stick.
I'm not going to sit there and watch that very long.
I'm not going to call them sissy sticks.
I firmly believe in willing though. Willing to fish on. It works. It works, man.
Go down there to Palm and pitch that jig up
In
for
code
about
terms,
5
Dion,
foot.
it's called extreme confidence. You got to believe in it. You got to believe in it so strongly that fish will eat it. So strongly.
So strongly you won't
I've
stand in
won-
that check line.
That's right.
You'll be going home early.
I've won 2 world championships in my life. I caught one on my last cast in both of them.
Did you will it? Did you
I
beg
don't
for
know.
it?
I don't know that I'd called
Did you talk
it
to the
that.
fishing
I
gods and
mean,
said,
He
just
never
give me
gave
one more
up.
fish, I'll never ask for another one again?
I intended to catch them, but still, you know,
He never gave up.
I just
so
never
to
never
speak.
quit. But
That's right. That's our same speech that we give over and over and over again. I'll say it again. Never stop until your time to go. Always weigh your fish, no matter how many you got.
be
Even if
proud
it's just
of
one, be proud of them. And the third one is be humble when you win. Shake everybody else's hands. You know, go up and say good job.
And-
That's kind of the basic of the
and-
rules, right? Am I
Yeah.
missing anything there?
I always tell everybody, too,
Unless the guy's a real ass.
peaks and
You know?
valleys,
Then
man.
it's kind of 50-50.
You try to stay in the middle because you'll be up there for a while, and then you'll go down there where you just can't do anything right. Don't live down there either. Don't live up here and don't live down there. Try to stay in the middle.
try not to stay on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of like the gutter.
But, you know,
It's more
like
fun.
you alluded to earlier, I've been on the bottom for 10 years. So, you
Didn't
know,
mean it in a bad way. I just like to tell the truth
Yeah.
from time to time. Just, you know, we all hit slumps, right? I've been in a 25-year slump.
dude, that's,
I can catch 12 pounds. Like,
that's almost an era.
I know, right? It's a career. It's a career of being average, you know? Unfortunately, here's the problem. Back in 2000, whenever Dion was helping me mentor me in fishing and tournament trails, he said, you got to remember something. And this was back probably 1999, right at the ballpark. He said, takes you an average, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was about 6.5 pounds a tournament to get you to the Bassmasters Classic champion. You could get there, you had to catch 6.5 pounds a day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every
Yeah.
day.
I don't think
And if you can
enough
do
people
that,
understand that
You
either.
can make the show, you know, but you got to be consistent, you know. So I've always tried to be consistent, but it doesn't win you tournaments.
Nope.
It
But
doesn't.
there's a lot of successful anglers that don't win.
But if you're
tournaments.
fishing for a career and you want to make the show, you got, and I don't know what the average would be today, depending on what trail, but it still
I
can't
think
be.
it's 10 pounds.
It's still got to be in that ballpark.
I said this a couple years ago, or not a couple years ago, a couple episodes ago, that I think we're kind of in the heyday though. I think the weights have went up, you know, on everything. So I think it takes more now than it did back then. But yeah, at one point in time, my mother, after the second tournament of the season in Bassmaster, she could tell you how many pounds a day you had to catch.
Right.
And you know, it averages out.
It's,
you know,
I
and-
mean, it's just
and
a
it
math
was
problem.
and it was never 2 digits. It was
Right.
always single
Right.
digits, single digit weights.
Consistency.
Yep,
every
to move
day.
up, son, you got to do
Yeah,
9.5 pounds.
If
Yeah.
you had a 15-pound day, then okay, you could have a 5-pound day the next day, you know, or something, and you'd still be okay.
And I guess
But-
we'll have to have an episode about that on strategizing a strategy of a 3 or 4 day tournament. Because I mean, there's 2 levels of thought there. You whack them, crack them, get all you can get, and then try to figure it out on days 3 and 4 when all your shit's used up. Or you can fish conservatively and try to average your fish. You know, that's anglers
Or-
do it both ways, right?
Or there's another way. Not
Cheat.
knowing what the hell you're going to do on day 1 or 2.
Yep.
And getting out that sissy stick.
And that's called
Those
junk.
are-
That's called junk fishing.
Those
Yeah.
are some of my best tournaments.
What's that?
Some
Just
of my best
going
tournaments is
blind.
when
Or
I put
lost.
when I put her on plane in the morning, not really have a clue where I'm going to stop.
Yep.
You know,
Those
and
are really those are
and
the
it just-
funnest days too.
it makes you fish.
Yeah.
You know, you
Makes you
don't go
fish.
out there. You know, you go out there and you have a real good practice or something like that. You better hope nothing changes, because then you're going to have to spend a part of your day failing before you change.
Yeah.
And that's
And like I say, if you go out there with an open mind and, well, really ain't got much going, I better just go find them, and you treat it kind of like a practice day.
But again, there's that fine line that you get at where it's, yes, you go out there and fail, but you have to be smart enough, or at least knowledgeable to know when it doesn't work, when it's time to change.
Sure.
Or when conditions change, and those are things we'll talk about as we go down this road of the show, but it's for example, it's weakness of mine. The wind's blowing really good in one direction, you're going to fish those wind-blown points. And let's say the pre-spawn spring, that's where the bait's going to be, it's where you're going to go. But you forget that at noon, they opened up the gates and the current started flowing and those fish moved, and they went different places. Or the sun comes out, or, it gets a cold front moves through, and it affects fishing. And we get so stuck in what I like to call the milk run. We fish the stuff that we always catches fish for us, but we need to probably educate anglers on how to look for condition changes and how to adjust as an angler. Because I know you do that. There's things that happen, and we talk about Clun all the time, about he's the master of that. He'll sleep with his doors open at night because the cold front moves through. He can feel it and be more one with nature and all that kind of stuff, which I'll never ever do. But when you spend enough time on the water, when they open the gates without calling Ameren and finding out, when current's moving. You can see with your line moving, or whatever tip there is. Or if the wind pops up on the other side of the lake, do you run over there? Or do you stay on the off wind? How does shad move? I'm asking all these questions, but
people want, what's the difference between an average fisherman and a guy who makes his living fishing tournaments? And the guy that fishes tournaments and makes a living at it, he gives up on stuff pretty quick. Right. And he changes pretty fast. If something's not working, to heck with it, move on. Go do something else. You can always come back to it. But if there's anything that we do better than the average Joe, we just change fast. You fish with Lawson. If he's not doing it, something's going to happen. He's got to change.
Lawson does stuff I don't like.
My dad was the most impatient human being ever to walk the planet. And when I say that, everybody, oh man, he fishes with a lot of patience. No, he didn't. You apparently did not know my dad. My dad gives something about 10 minutes, and if it didn't work, he's going to change up a little bit, or he's going to move somewhere else, but he's not going to give it a long time. So, it's just one of those deals. We just do things a little quicker. We're used to fishing 8 hours is the deal. And so we got to make stuff happen pretty fast. And so giving up on stuff happens quicker.
I've literally been fishing with Lawson when we were on what I would consider the juice in my life and strapped down burnout. And I'm like, what are we doing? Well, I got to check this one thing. But we're whacking them on the jig in the brush, 4 foot of water. That's what we want to do. And we go out on the point, and he throws a big old swim jig out there and catches a 5-pounder.
It's just
and I said,
having
just sit here and shut up.
And a lot of it's confidence too. It's hard to show that confidence on any given day, and a lot of people take that as arrogance. Everybody forever, they thought, oh, Van Dam's the most arrogant human being ever. No, he's not. No, he's not arrogant at all. If you can back it up, you can do whatever you want. You can say it however you want to say it if you can back it up. And he always could. That's confidence. He had the confidence that, hey, this ain't working. And he just changes up. And being able to do that is probably what we do better than the average fisherman.
That's Jamie's favorite angler.
Who's that?
KVD.
No, we've had that conversation a million times, and we've had it on the show a million times. The question is, can an up-and-coming, struggling, financially angler be as competitive as somebody who does not have the financial
That's
stress?
Everybody on the tour nowadays.
Stress. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but still, you
still got to catch them.
You got to be able to catch them.
You still got to catch them.
It don't matter if somebody leads you to them and says, here they are. And you still have to catch them day after day after day.
And as I've always said, I'll never, ever say Kevin Van Dam is not one of the best fishermen on the planet. What I'm saying is it's easier. It's a lot easier if you have money, and a lot of money.
Maybe in the beginning it was.
Yeah.
For him. Yeah.
No, to make a career like he did, sure. I'll give you that. But, if somebody gave me, and I don't even know what his net worth is, it's probably better now than when he started, for sure. But if I was and this has nothing to do with Kevin Van Dam. I don't want to start that and have him calling me a prick. But if I had
You've
unlimited,
seen him toe up with Iconelli. You know he can be scared of your little.
no, he's no. I don't want him to come down and
Mike
shut
Anelli.
down my $49 computer and kill our podcast. But no, I'm just saying if you're and again, I'm not saying this is Kevin Van Dam, but if you are come from a wealthy family and you don't have to work, and
That is the tour right now,
and
James.
if somebody wants to say, hey, here's a bunch of money, because as we're aware, sponsors aren't paying it right now. You
No.
have to come up from somewhere. So I think the ones that are that have less financial strain. Now, on the flip side, I know anglers that used to say that when you had your electric bill on the line, it made you fish a lot harder, it made you fish a lot smarter, because you had to pay your bills. That you're doing that if you're living, that's how you pay your bills. So I mean, there's two levels of thought there too. So I don't know.
It was growing up was different, for me. I can tell you that right now. But I saw my dad do it. I saw my dad start from absolutely nothing, guiding on Lake of the Ozarks, and I saw the way he did it, and that's the way we did it. We worked hard at it.
And like I said, there's two different levels there. How people make it happen, but you got to make it happen.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to. It's like you said, never give up. That's part of that process. So anyway, that's all I got on that one.
You got to be able to turn it on, turn it off.
That's right. Shameless plug time. You ready?
Bait works.
Well, we're already there. I'm gonna let him go. You high?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you high?
No.
You gonna be?
No. Maybe.
Not maybe.
It's illegal now, right?
It is legal.
All right, I'm high.
This is the time you get to talk about your one and only good sponsor.
Yeah.
So that's let's hear it.
Do you know what a square grouper is?
That's a fish that grew in a square box.
Wrong.
All right, let's hear
Do
it.
you know what a square grouper
No,
is?
sir. No.
So on the coast, namely Florida, East Coast, sometimes on the Gulf Coast, a bale will wash up on the bank or on the beach, and
That's a square grouper.
That is a square grouper.
Gotcha. For those who
I do not know if that's why Square Grouper named it Square Grouper,
No, man,
but I
that's-
immediately knew what they sold at Square Grouper.
let's break it down, because there's some people out there that don't quite grab the concept. When you drug traffic in the coast and the Keys, a bale was referring to a bale of narcotics,
Yeah, I don't know.
preferably marijuana, and it would float to the shore after probably somebody ditched it because the Coast Guard were coming to get them. Correct? And it floated up shore, and it was like finding an Easter egg.
Too.
Right.
Cocaine
Cocaine too, yeah,
Cocaine floats.
Right. So square grouper we refer to one as, well, if it's wrapped in plastic.
Yeah, it all
Gotcha.
floats.
Yeah. I don't know. So
I'm
anyway,
just going to tell you right now, I saw that happen once.
what's that?
Me and Dad put in on
You find some
Okeechobee.
cocaine?
No, we didn't
No.
find it. We didn't find
You
it.
saw it
but
dropped.
We saw it get dropped out of the sky,
Nice.
and we were running up the lake, and Dad just hangs a big old horseshoe and went right back over to the bank. I said, "What are we doing?" He says, "I don't want to be around that."
Yeah, because that's
I said, "Why? What if it was something?" He said, "Dude," he said, "if we turned and ran at it right now, I guarantee you we still ain't going to be the first one to get there."
That's
He
right.
said, "Somebody's watching that." And sure enough, within seconds, there was a boat right out there,
And that
picked
was-
up and gone.
not to get too far into that, but in Okeechobee back in the day, it was Haitians, wasn't it? The Haitian drug cartels were like, they took over that area pretty good for a while.
Well, the sugar
It wasn't Cuban. It was Haitian.
No, it's Haitians.
Yeah.
The sugar cane people, a lot of those were Haitians and stuff. That's why we didn't. I mean, we had a trailer house down there once.
Soldier what?
Sold our trailer house.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, trailer house.
Gotcha.
We bought a trailer house down there because me and Dad at that point in our career were doing a lot of fishing around and flying around doing seminars in the wintertime. So we thought, well, maybe the wives would like to be in sunny Florida, Well, sunny Florida and Lake Okeechobee is two different things, okay? Lake Okeechobee, overall around it, it's kind of a rough little area. It's not good, and it's because of the sugar cane fields. You have those cane cutters. Most of them are from foreign countries, no education, and I mean, they are rough. I mean, stand on street corners at night, drinking and doing drugs and stuff like that. And the reason we had to sell our trailer house is my wife got pregnant with Peyton, and we went to one of Mary Ann Martin's doctors that she had recommended us to go. It was one of her first appointments that we had to go to. And we go in there and we sit down, and in walks a pair of Haitians, that had gotten into it over something, and one of them's missing a hand. His cane knife his good cane hand had got lopped off, and my wife says, "I'm not living here. I don't care if it's only for 1 month a year. I'm not living here."
Done.
And we went back to the trailer court where we had bought this trailer house, and I told Dad, I said, "Well, don't unpack your shit." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "Because we're not staying." And he's like, "We just paid it off." And he's like, I said, "Yeah," and she had actually taken a picture with her cell phone. He says,
"Look at this."
"Yep, I'm good. Let's go." And we sold our trailer house the same day that he paid it off, and we never stayed in Florida full time ever.
Nice. Good story.
Yeah,
I was just wanting to ask him about his weed supplier.
I know.
That was it.
And
So go ahead. We got into Square Group. We got into drugs. We got into cocaine, and then it's like we were coming around. Like, let's talk about Square Grouper. Shameless plug.
Shameless
sponsor.
Buy your weed at Square Grouper.
All right, so there's
it is the cheapest prices on the lake.
So there's a local weed distributor down here.
And I didn't know this.
They're the cheapest. I don't
and
even
you're
know
serious? It's called Square Grouper?
It's called
Yeah, there you go.
Square
See?
Grouper.
Holy cow, that's cool.
You drove right by it.
cool.
That is extra cool.
That's extra cool. Now there you go.
You drove right by it.
I did not know that.
It's at
There you
Soap
go.
Creek.
Yeah.
Really?
You know at Soap Creek where you had to slam
Yeah.
on the brakes, keep from hitting that car in front of you?
Yeah, because
He
they're
was
all
going to
turning
get
in.
some weed at the Square
Did you ever-
Grouper.
The
Did you ever have
Square
that
Grouper.
moment?
How about that?
Do you ever have that moment when you're driving to work and you realize you're gonna have to shovel about 80 bags of minnows for like $2 a bag, and then you go by one of these distributors
You
and there's
know I
like
do.
40 cars parked around there? I'm like, man, I got in the wrong damn business. Wrong damn
I'll
business.
tell you, when I met with Brett from Square Grouper, it's like this was an idea that spawned out of lots of hours of fishing and thinking, who can I get to partner up with that help me foot some of this bill? And we started laughing. I said, they were building all the dispensaries. I was like, somebody ought to tap into this marijuana business. I said, can you imagine the chuckle people will get out of the whole deal? And so I went with I met a guy that worked there first, and Joe McLafoy. I don't know if anybody knows Joe Mac. He's a cool dude. And I said, Joe Mac, can you give me the owner's number? Because I'd like to talk to him. And it took a year, but he finally got it, which is part of the weed, the weed business is you don't know who's pushing what button. But so Brett says, come up to the office and meet me. I'll show you the operation. I'm like, cool, man. This is the coolest thing I ever seen. So when you get in there, and I worked at penitentiary 25 years, it's harder to get in that weed factory than it is to get into prison. First of all, getting in prison's easy as hell. It's getting out that's hard.
Yes.
But so he comes and meets me at the door, and I put on all this protective equipment. I got to sign in, and I got my own badge. And he goes, now the doors are open, but you can't go inside. You can just peek in there and look. And it was like purple ones and green ones and this big and that big. And I was like, wow, it's cool. The whole time, man, the place smells like Cheech and Chong movie,
I know.
I'm
I
like,
drive
if
by
we
it.
knew
I'm
it,
every
like,
day.
damn, man. And we walk all the way through it, what seems like the biggest Walmart I ever been in, all the way to the corner of it, and we go in his office. And I sit down in a little chair, and I'm like, and he starts shooting questions, asking me all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, something's wrong with me right now. I'm freaking stoned. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot about it. I'm so used to it because I work in here all the time, but I was not used to it. So I couldn't really tell you what happened at that meeting because I didn't have a pencil or paper, but I did the next meeting. I brought a pencil and paper.
Apparently, it went well.
That dude is so cool. He's an entrepreneur, and I'd love to tell you some of his ideas, but I can't do it on. I told him I wouldn't share, but it's way
That's
cool.
cool.
Way cool.
So-
Guy is a really cool dude.
Did you get a product sponsorship?
I did not.
Okay,
I got
that's
a
what
cash
that was.
sponsorship.
I was just
And I
asking.
get asked that all the time, and I
Yeah.
talked to him in a meeting. I was like, if you just give me a code that they can use to buy weed, you'll see what I'm bringing on the table. And he said, dude, you're bringing it on the table. He said, you can't do any funny business with marijuana because the government, Uncle Joe, he's got his ass deep off in that. They tax them 30% because they're an illegal company.
Yeah.
Just because it's against federal law to harvest marijuana. And that's on top of what the state whacks it. 6 months in, the Missouri marijuana growers had sold $7 billion in marijuana. 6 months in.
6 months.
And the state gets a good cut of that. I'm told the Veterans Commission gets a good cut of it, but I don't know that that's the truth or not, but I haven't seen any residual effects of that. It's crazy, and we all think
trickled down to you yet.
No, I haven't seen anything. But it's a cool business, and you would think it was lucrative, but it takes a lot to make it go.
But it is lucrative.
It is lucrative.
It does
Yeah,
make money.
they wouldn't do it if it wasn't.
Don't bull crap anybody. That's good.
But so to get how I met this guy, the first time I met him, before he let me in his marijuana grow operation, which, by the way, is the only one in the state of Missouri that goes in a seed at the door and comes out a bag of marijuana at the other door every single day. It's nonstop production, which I thought was pretty cool. So I met this guy.
It's kind of like farming. It's like from seed to the table.
Every day.
Gotcha.
Every day you go pick a ripe tomato.
Gotcha.
365 days a year.
Got it.
All and
right.
you have other tomatoes you could pick too if you didn't like that tomato.
Right.
You could pick this tomato, which is better in the evening than that tomato tastes better in the morning.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Guadalupe versus Bahama Mama. Whatever they call it.
Right.
Ganja.
The purple sticky punch.
What's purple sticky punch? Whatever. Yeah, I got it.
Pineapple Express.
Anyway. Yeah,
so I met this before he let me in there. I met him down at Lake House 13 over a beer, and I was like, all right, this is the deal. I'm the Angry Pirate. I run a little tournament series. I like to fish around, and this is what I can do for you. I'm at all these tournaments. I can display the Square Grouper logo and however you want me to do it. If you give me a little money to fish, you know the game. And he was like, well, who's the Angry Pirate? And I'm not kidding you. This linebacker of an Iowa woman walked in with her crop top on, Harley Davidson wristbands, tattoos, walks right up to me, grabs me by the tit and says, Angry Pirate, arr! And walks by. And she goes, how'd that feel? I said, you tell me, you're the one that felt it.
So you're in.
She said, the Angry Pirate. And so he's sitting there drinking his beer, and he goes, that your sister? I said, Brett, I never seen that lady before in my life. I said, this is the Angry Pirate. And I didn't know that gal from Adam. I had the shirt on, and she recognized it, and it was perfect timing for me.
Timing is everything.
And he's been a really good partner to have.
That's awesome.
Cool. So yeah,
A good partner. I'm a small potato, but
to wrap up the shameless plug for the day, if you want a little legal marijuana in Missouri and you're down at Lake of the Ozarks, go see Square Grouper Dispensary right there
Soap
on
Creek.
Highway 5 North on Soap Creek. There you go.
And if you go, remember, from Laurie to Gravois, the speed limit on 5 Highway is 55 miles an hour. It's only 45 from here to Lebanon, or however far you want to drive it.
So are you saying
There's some slow drivers.
pick it up?
And watch the Square Grouper because they'll turn in front of you without
That's right.
signaling.
Watch
They got one thing on the mind, and it ain't safe driving.
They're not
Gotcha.
focused.
Wow. So I don't know if you can top that. Do you got anything?
No, nothing like that good.
Yeah, we'd like to
All
thank
my
you.
sponsorship stuff's way more boring than that.
I know, right? So I guess what we do every week, if you have questions you'd
I
like
have
to.
got a couple over a good cold beer, but
I hear you.
Somebody asked earlier, are we fishing the BFL this weekend? I am not.
I am not. My son is, but I'm not.
No, I got to work. No, I ain't catch any fish, so I suck. Anyway.
I just hate the whole BFL.
I can't. Yeah,
game.
I can't fish 200 boats for $5,000. I just don't. I can't do the math on that.
And it's
That's
all day long. You
Nah.
wait for your partner. You wait for a bag. You wait to pull your boat out.
Yep.
It's a young man's game, and they can have it.
All right, we're all agreed on that. So let's do this. I'm gonna push this over here. If you guys have any questions you'd like to give us for next week, I don't know how they're gonna top this. So you can go to askrealtalk@gmail.com. And a little reminder. I'm gonna turn this thing off
We're
here.
gonna-
Go ahead.
We'll by next week we'll figure out how we're going to give away the boat Baitworks stuff and the Bojangles stuff.
Yeah,
The free giveaways.
I'm getting there. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can turn this screen off here. It's not
You ain't a production man.
No, I know I'm not. My mouse isn't working.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You see that?
Your mouth is, but your mouse is.
Mouth,
That's
but
right.
not the mouse.
Your mouth's been running all day.
I know. You see that? Look at that. Let's see if I can do this.
For 52 years.
Yeah, 3.
53.
53
Just had a
now. Oh,
birthday.
There you
that's
go.
right. That was last week.
Yeah, last week. That's why we postponed today.
Ah.
So here, let's see if I can do this here. So here it is, folks. There's one of them. This is the Hibden Hammer. This is a they come in all kinds of sizes. I think it's 5/8 ounce. There's some really cool colors. Let me see if I can get it up there so you can see it. What we're going to do is we've got a whole sets. We'll make some package sets up, and we're asking you to go to youtube.com, go to Real Unfiltered Talk, subscribe. We'll put you in the pool, and then we'll put some packages together, and then we'll give some good stuff away next week. So get online and follow us. We sure appreciate everything. Andy, not as unfiltered as I thought it would. Love for you to come back again. We'll get you liquored up
Love
and
to.
high, and
Thanks for
we
having
have
me.
a good one. Dion,
All right.
as always, next week.
Can I
Wednesday
make
at
a
6.
plug real quick?
Go ahead. Another shameless plug. You have it. Go ahead.
May the 14th, Station 46 is the second Old Farts tournament out of there. For more information, come down here or email or hit me up on Facebook.
Here in Missouri, up the river, Angry Pirate puts on a 50 and over old man's club. We call it the Old Farts Tournament. So if you want to do that, drop us an email at askrealtalk@gmail.com, and we'll get you signed up for that as well. And it'll be national here by the time they figure it out. So those
Are
other
you
things.
buying it?
Huh?
Are you buying it?
No, I'm done buying tournaments. I've had my share of own tournaments. Don't want no more. We'll talk. I tell you, we'll have you back on next time, and we'll talk about the decay of the crappie industry. How about that?
Absolutely.
That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to go there?
No.
All right.
I don't want no part of that.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Can
You're
we
just not gonna show
we'll
up that
drop
week?
names.
I'll be here, but I
We'll drop some names in that one.
The fishing, the crappie fishing market is outstanding. The crappie professional tournament industry is hurting. That's
Yeah.
where I'm talking about. So we might dove into that one of these weeks. So, but for the meanwhile, we'd like to thank everybody for coming in. We'd like to thank you for tuning in and watching us. And from all of us here at Real Unfiltered Talk, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week at 6. Appreciate
thanks
it, guys.
for being here.
Russell.